have some guests on talking about transness, Enbyness, kind of gonna talk about how that is in terms of content creating, or just maybe delving into what that's like, because I think it's interesting to hear people's stories. This is the second episode of the podcast, so y'all remember this song? Does anyone remember this? So yeah, I'll just be right back. Hold on. Y'all see this? Okay, sick.
It's the Kipp podcast.
It's the Kipp podcast.
It's the Kipp
Hello?
podcast. It's the Kipp podcast.
Can you hear me?
It's the Kipp podcast.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
What the fuck is up, Kipp?
Hello. Okay, I'm gonna set all of these things up. No one can see you right now, but everyone can hear you. So just a heads up on that.
What's up, chat? What
Okay.
the fuck is up, Limbos?
What's up, Plimbos in
What
chat?
the fuck is up?
Okay, I'm gonna show you all. You ready?
Let's
Yes.
do it. I'm ready
All
for
right.
the shot.
Let's go. Look! Yay!
What the fuck is up, Limbos?
What's up, Plimbos? Look at everybody. Hi. There
All
we
these
go.
people.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. Heck yeah. This is the thing. Hold on, I'm gonna change. Oh no, it's just gonna, this is what it's gonna be. But yeah, how are y'all doing? How's your stream, Ari? You just started doing Sekiro, is that true?
It was good. We got to third phase of evil old man feet McGee, and we will destroy old men. We will destroy the old man.
As we should.
Yes.
Oh, Libby, you look
Very
really
good.
smart right now. Just the way you're kind of like holding your hands, you kind of look like a professor at the moment.
I'm plotting. I'm plotting all the time.
What are you plotting?
Don't worry about it.
Nice.
Don't worry about it.
I'm not worried about it
Well,
at
we-
all. But yeah, so if
Does it
y'all
have to do with the IRS?
I heard, yeah, there's something going on with the IRS. What's going on with that, Libby? You always bring up IRS stuff.
Look. The only thing that's of mention right now is that Rajan was in my stream and gifted the IRS twice in my channel, so I had to ban him. And Rajan, you're great. You're a wonderful person. But you crossed me and you played with fire. That's what happened. So if you come on my stream and you do anything with the IRS, I'm gonna ban you.
That's
Letting
fair.
you know it's fair game.
Yeah, I've been wanting to know the lore behind it because there's always the IRS talk, but I was like, where did that come from? So I'm glad that I like that I know the lore now.
Well, that's only the most recent thing. The lore started 30 years ago, but we have other things to
Okay.
talk about. So
Yeah, for sure.
worry about it.
We'll do another sort of tax government podcast episode next time. Just really great topics we're really touching on today.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
really important.
So I
Yes,
guess
obvious.
since this is a podcast, I guess we should introduce ourselves. Ari, do you want to start your name, pronoun, and just like what kind of stuff you like to do on Twitch, or just like little blurb
Yeah.
about you?
Sure. Hi, my name is Aireth. I stream on Twitch under Aireth. Right now I play a lot of FromSoft games. I'm a trans streamer. My pronouns are she, her. And outside of streaming, I do a ton of running, and I'm also in a PhD program for chemistry.
Heck yeah. I hear you're really smart.
I'm very smart about very specific things and nothing else.
Well, you're doing like OChem. You're getting a PhD in OChem, right?
Yeah, I am. But again, I'm smart at very specific things. If you ask me about anything else, I'll just go, I don't know, boobs.
That's fair. Is that on your mind a lot?
No comment.
all right, Libby, you want to sort of say your spiel?
Yeah, what's up, Plimbos? I'm Libby. You can find me under Libby the Giant Robot with underscores in a certain particular order. I stream mostly like FromSoft games, like challenge run shit now. I'm eventually going to be doing like music streams, potentially a concert one day. Who knows? We'll see. Potentially a concert one day, but you know, it'll happen at some point. Anyway, outside of Twitch, I mostly do music stuff or things related to music. Work in a music gear company, and I sometimes do live shows. Other than that, I am working on composing.
Oh yeah.
Not gonna tell you where my compositions are though. Hey.
Yeah, if you type !Libby, you can see their Bandcamp, which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Libby, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
What are your fucking pronouns?
My fucking pronouns?
What are your pronouns, you
What?
goddamn
My
bitch?
fucking pronouns? What are my fucking pronouns?
Yeah.
I use they them pronouns.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. And so I guess I'll go last. Yeah, my name's Kipp, pronouns they, them, and burp a lot, and you know, I'm here. So I imagine if you're here, you've been to my streams before, so you know what happens here. But yeah, so we're just gonna kind of talk about, like, we have some questions that I like sent to you both, and obviously we talked, or just like, if it, you know, goes into a tangent of whatever, that's sick. Yeah, and if at any point we're like talking about something and either of you are like, I don't want to answer that question, you can say, fuck off, Kipp, I'm not gonna answer that question. So that's totally very poggies. Hold on, I'm bringing up the questions that we had. I might just go back and forth. Was there any question that y'all like wanted to start off with, or do you want me to just sort of ask y'all?
That's on you, Kippathy.
Okay. But yeah, I guess something I almost want to jump. I guess, yeah, we'll go in order because this order does make sense, I guess. But yeah, when did you kind of like discover your like gender identity, or like begin to question the gender you were assigned at birth, or just like gender queerness in general? Yeah, I don't know, whoever wants to sort of start that. You can share as little or as much as you want. Yeah, you don't have to go into like personal information if that's not comfortable for you, but I know it's like a very broad question, so I know that I can kind of like go anywhere.
Gonna get personal?
If you want to, but again, you can say skip. You can press the skip button.
I'm down to get personal. Do you want to hear a story?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Story.
I like stories.
So a long time ago in a town called Kickapoo. So a few years ago, I was actually, this kind of started in high school because I was already uncomfortable. I was at a private Jesuit all boys high school at the time. That was a very interesting environment to be going through most of my adolescent years at. To have that like identity of male and man being really enforced in that kind of way, like as a just infrastructure, I didn't really think about gender too much as a teenager. I knew that there were some things that I did that were slightly out of the norm, like wanting to possibly wear makeup, or like wanting to possibly like wear different clothes. I knew I was unhappy with the way I dressed, but I didn't really start exploring that till close to the time I dropped out of school. Yeah, it didn't really all line up until I was like, we're getting personal. I was seeing someone who identified as non-binary. I mean, I guess actually haven't talked to them. We haven't talked about identity or like labels or anything like that in a while. So I know they use they them pronouns still. So that person that I was seeing was telling me about their experience, and like something that they were saying like definitely clicked with me. And then I started thinking about it more, and then eventually just came to the realization a few years later that like I just like using they them pronouns, and I don't see myself as a man. And looking back, that was just an idea that I was raised with and I was socialized with, that was like heavily enforced in my life in conscious and subconscious ways. Yeah, that's kind of it's a little story I got for you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Libby. I'm just gonna do an applause thing, but I don't think y'all can hear it. It's through OBS, so just pretend you're hearing applause. Thank you for sharing that. yeah, I can go if you don't feel comfortable yet going, Ari, but
Oh, I'm fine. I didn't have the cookie cutter ideal of being raised as a man, and like figuring out their gender identity by like, oh, I played with dolls a lot and things like that. I never did that. I was actually a very, very active kid. I did a lot of traditionally masculine things. And so it all started around puberty, as most of these things do. When I was kind of, so jumping back, sorry, story time, I guess. Jumping back, I was homeschooled for a long time, which does explain a lot about me, yes. And I started when I started puberty and everyone was changing around me just like I was. I went off to boarding school for some stuff, and when I was like around people, I realized that everyone that I wanted to be like, everyone that I saw myself in, and everyone that like I was friends with was not the gender that everyone told me I was. And that started to get really confusing. And I was born in the South, like deep South, like Florida, Georgia line, deep South. And so the idea of trans wasn't even a thing for me. I didn't really even know what it was until, gosh, like 13 or 14. In fact, like I grew up being pretty anti-LGBTQ. Obviously, a lot has changed. And so when all my friends and all the people that I like to hang around were changing in ways that I wasn't changing, I was very confused. And it took a long time for me to figure out what being trans was and what that meant for me. And eventually I came out when I was 17. And actually my first day out presenting as a woman was my very first day of college, like moving across the country. So I moved entire cities and I started a like basically completely new life presenting as a woman. And it was a really, and still is a really long experience for me of uncovering what femininity means to me and how I can present that in the ways that make me feel most comfortable. But that's like the short and sweet of it, that realization of like the people that I want to be like aren't changing the way that I am. What the fuck? So yeah, that's kind of the short and sweet of it, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That's like a very, just like going from just almost just like not necessarily starting over, but just like, yeah, going to a new place and then like living life in a way that's just like fully comfortable for you and like just like discovering just like your authentic self and just like that's almost like kind of cool that you got to just like move somewhere and just like, I don't know. Like, did you feel like that?
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of a sad thing. You can't really be. I mean, there are people that are out trans in where I'm from and that area, and they are strong as fuck. But it is very, very dangerous, especially after the current political climate. So it wasn't really even quite like an option for me to feel safe exploring that, exploring my gender in the area that I grew up in. So like I kind of needed to get away one way or another. And it was very much I'm very much an all or nothing type of person. So when I moved, it was just like, well, here we go. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I can't imagine, just like being, because I feel like pretty lucky that I like was surrounded by like either like people online like y'all and like obviously like friends in chat, but I feel lucky that I'm surrounded by like for the most part like some friends that do just support that in general, just like LGBT plus and just like other things like that, and almost maybe take that for granted of just like forgetting that there are like, I mean, not that you can't, it's kind of dangerous everywhere, you know, wherever you go, it's like it can be dangerous, but some places maybe more than others. And so you forget that it's like, yeah, it's just hard. It's also hard when you're like in your room all day on the computer, you like forget the outside world because you kind of have just like this little bubble of people who just like get it, you know, for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll share mine. It's still a pretty new thing for me, and honestly not something that I've like really talked about too much besides like with my therapist and maybe like one friend. But yeah, it wasn't until I've heard of I didn't really know much about like trans identity and just like gender in general until I got to college. And I started meeting people who were like trans and non-binary. Like I didn't know anyone who was in high school or anything like that. I grew up in like a very Catholic household, very big traditions. Like I had 3 sisters, just very like you are a girl, you are a woman. And I feel like that whole time, like I had a lot of like female friends. And like growing up, I feel like I didn't really relate to anything they would all talk about. Like, I feel like the stuff that they were going through, I was like, I feel like I'm not going through that same experience. And as I like got older, I feel like when I had more guy friends, I feel like a lot of the stuff they would talk about in terms of like things they would either like be thinking about or like their internal dialogue or just like general behavior, I felt like made more sense for me, or just like I related to it more. And so yeah, it wasn't, but I really never thought about that because I was like, I didn't even know what trans or like non-binary was. But it wasn't until last year when I started to like question that, and just now I sort of still questioning it, of like constantly going back and forth of like, because I'm pretty impulsive, and so I was like, they, them, that sounds right to me, I'm just gonna fucking do it because that feels right. And I just feel, I don't feel good when people use she, her, and just like discovering why that is. And just like having moments of like, oh, am I a trans guy? And then just like reading a bunch of things about that and being like, should I start T? Wait a minute, maybe I should wait on that. And just kind of like just sort of like just going all over the place. So it's still, yeah, something that I'm like currently going through and I'm just very confused about. So yeah, I don't know. I'm at the beginning of this story, I think, of a story that's just like maybe not ready to be finished, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the story ever really done? I feel like change is one of the only constants we really have. Like, our experiences are always changing and evolving, and even if we feel like one way in a certain day or time, like, I mean, I'm probably just projecting. I'm finding this is like definitely my experience, that it's just more of like things are constantly changing, and I don't even know where to begin of where to anchor myself. So why even anchor myself?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my gender identity. Well, I don't think my gender identity has changed a lot. I do think that the way that I present has changed so dramatically in the last 2.5 years, I'd say. Just like a complete, almost like 180, even from the start of COVID. And I mean, to be honest, 90% of that has to deal with Twitch, which is wild to me. But like that feeling of things they don't have to stay the same. And I think that that's like something really, really beautiful about like the genderqueer and trans experience of like, we get to be comfortable and we get to make ourselves in an environment that's comfortable. And I just, like, it's really pretty to do that, I think. And those things change like all the time. But like, if you have people around you that can change with you, it feels really good.
That is really sweet.
That's true, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I want more people to be encouraged and comfortable to define their own experience and to just have that be respected, because that's like, you can't tell someone else what their experience is when you don't know, when you don't sit in their shoes, when you have a completely different experience from them. So to even try and presume, it just, why? Stop.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Could you not?
Yeah.
Could you just not?
Yeah,
Like,
I think.
you have,
Yeah, I think especially with just like people who are like beginning to explore their like gender identity, of like questioning it and stuff. It's just, it should be like almost this beautiful thing of like, just, yeah, like you said, Ari, like discovering what makes you the happiest, like not doing things because other people have these expectations on you, but just really going inside of yourself and being like, what makes me happy when I'm like around people that I care about? Like what best, like whether that be like labels that really speak to you or no labels that speak to you, it's just like, yeah, at the end of the day, what's gonna make you the most happy and make you feel the most like confident in yourself. And that does include like how you present to people, I think. And it's just like, it's hard when you just like, yeah, feel one way and just don't receive that same energy from someone who doesn't see you that same way. And it just feels like, yeah, it feels shitty. But there's like almost nothing you can do about that, especially when it's like someone who you can't really change their mind or someone that you're just like briefly meeting, it's just like it's so much to unpack in 1 second that you can't like have this really long conversation that like we're having right now of like explaining what that means. And so it's it sucks sometimes.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Sucks.
I mean, with any stranger,
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't know if y'all feel this way, but sometimes it feels, you know, in my experience, it's felt more difficult to try and do this with family than it has been with the strangers or even just acquaintances that might not necessarily understand or agree. Like I know for me, it's been a lot harder to just explain myself in a way that I feel good in. I'm trying to explain this to my family, or at least like certain members of my family. A lot of them have been really, really helpful about it, but some of them are just like, don't get it. And I know that they see me a certain way and that's not going to change. But I don't know, what have y'all's experiences been like?
Yeah, with like, telling family members stuff.
Yeah, family members or like strangers, like, you know, passing by someone, or you're at like, this is a general and also loaded question, so feel free to go for it or say pass, whatever's clever.
I've had a very interesting relationship coming out to my family. I will say one of my family is in chat right now, so
Hi, Aireth family. That's rad.
Sup, fam.
Hi, River. Called you out right there. But it was. I mean, initially coming out, like, just to be frank, was not good. It wasn't. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I had a lot of like backlash from that. And I think something that my dad said to me, yeah, fuck it, we'll get personal. Something my dad said to me, like, when I was coming out, like the actual like conversation has stuck with me and will always stick with me, especially like being raised in the South and like growing up in that atmosphere. Like my mom was like in tears, crying and all that jazz, and my dad's just dead silent as after I told him, and he was like, we are not born with bigotry, we are taught it, but understand this is going to take a while. And I've just been trying to carry that through with all of my interactions with people who don't quite get it. And granted, I get very frustrated sometimes, but like that's just stuck with me so much, and that's why I keep trying to share more with my family and the people that I love, even if it hurts. And like granted, I've had some shitty things happen because of that. May or may not have been a little homeless for a little bit, but like it passes. But yeah, I think that's like just how I've gone about dealing with family, is like people, if they're taught one thing, then if I put in the time and effort, maybe they can be taught something else. But like, I don't think everybody deserves that time and effort. Like I'm not there to teach everyone all of this shit. Like, cause it's a lot for me. I don't know about y'all, but like trying to sit down and explain and share these like harsh, gut-wrenching things with people that like you hope see you for who you are, like that's hard.
Yeah. Even though I just like, recently am like discovering this and like all that stuff, it is exhausting. I just like, even specifically with like streaming, like I can't even say like how many times people have like messaged me about it. And just having to like repeat like the same things over and over, and I'm just like, it's just tiring. it is tiring, but it's also like, like you were saying, it's just like if I don't do it, like who else is gonna tell these people, you know? And so there's this weird like responsibility of like, I don't know, like I'll have conversations and be like, did I even like say the right thing? Did I like fuck that up? Did I, you know, because I'm still discovering it for myself. It's like I don't know how to explain it to someone else when like I almost don't even understand it. So I don't know. Libby, how has that been for you, having to like talk to people about it?
I mean, it's frustrating a lot of the time, but you know, when you find spaces like this and there's a lot of people who just already get it, or people who are like more open to just like what are to trying to understand, it's really comfortable and it's a lot more cozy. But it's a bit like me coming out into my general like friend group and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't have like a big like didn't have like a, well, I guess I did I? No, that was a year late. I had it coming out thing like a year later on like Facebook when I was still using that. But I generally just like started to kind of tell people that were in my close friend group, and if I was gigging with them. But it turned into a reason why I stopped gigging, because I got tired of explaining to people, and then I got tired of gigging so much because it put me in scenarios where I had to explain to people like, oh, I'm not a man, I'm not a guy, I'm not a dude, like I'm not a man, don't refer to me as sir, please. This is, I feel like I'm asking for very simple things, and it just kept happening. So I eventually just stopped gigging so much and focused more on making my own music and a little bit more of my job. But I've been getting a little bit better at it, and a lot of it's come from just choosing my own battles. And actually, something that the Aireth said is people are taught bigotry, not born with it. So I understand that a lot of people just are taught in a similar way that I was taught as a child, how to act and how to be socialized and like how to just be. So, you know, we're all following some kind of bullshit script at the end of the day until we realize we don't want to fucking follow that script. And I still have the habits of staying indoors most times. I'm still very much a homebody. I haven't really figured out how to really just be comfortable standing up for myself. And I think the realization here is that it's never really going to be comfortable until I like practice that thing as if I were practicing music. Like I work on it every day or at a certain kind of regimen, a certain consistency. So once I actually at that point, like, yeah, it'll still be annoying as shit to deal with these people and to deal with these scenarios, but it'll be a lot easier. I'll be able to no-hit that shit, like any percent speedrun, no problem. That's what I'm aiming for, the fucking speedrunner strats. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's very funny. Yeah, it is, God, I totally lost what I was gonna say. But yeah, it is harder to talk to people that you do know about it than it is to like strangers, I think, for sure. And that was also a reason, yeah, I also had a job and then I also quit because I just like got misgendered all the time, and I was like, I feel shitty. I feel really bad. I just like, it brought me so much stress, and I was like, I just can't do it anymore. And like, luckily I was able to like still stream and stuff like that, you know, because I can just have people delete stuff, and I'm like, that's cool, just ban hammer, ban words, and you know, whatever, you know, just like actually delete what people say, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it can be, yeah, it can kind of suck. But yeah, I think no hit gender run is fucking rad.
It's so like, I don't really know how to deal with it, like with strangers sometimes. Like if I'm at the fucking like car dealership and someone calls me sir, which first of all, what? Can we just, what? But also like, I don't know about y'all, but like when I do confront strangers and things like that, it's definitely a game of A, is this worth it? B, is this gonna get me hurt if I stand up for myself? And like, see, like, if I don't, I feel shitty. So like, I just recognize like so much of like, we're balancing all of these things at the same time, and then also trying to live in a capitalistic society for some strange reason. And I just like, I don't have the answer for how to balance that, but it is a hard balance, especially with like getting misgendered is such, like, you can be having a great day and you can get misgendered 10 times. Then the 11th time, you just like, fuck it, I'm out. Like, I can't do it anymore. It's hard. And the safety issue, and like, I don't know, how have y'all dealt with those sorts of things? Because Lord knows, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you said it really well. I think it's so accurate. Like, yeah, I'll get, yeah, anytime I do get misgendered, whether it be like in stream or chat, and I know that there are people who like, you know, some people who do new main and they do respect it, but it's just like an accident, you know. Yeah, it's still, you know, it still kind of sucks. Still kind of sucks. And yeah, especially in person, that is hard because yeah, you do have to make that decision. Because yeah, anytime I don't correct someone, I just like, I feel like I'm invalidating myself, and then like it just adds even more self-doubt of like, just give up and just do she, her, and do the woman thing, because obviously you're not like willing enough to correct someone that like your identity isn't real, you know? And so it's like, that's bullshit though, because it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't know how that person's gonna respond. I don't know what they're gonna say to me, and is it worth it?
Yeah, no, it's definitely it feels shitty every time. I know in my experience, I've kind of made a certain amount of peace with the way I present and the way I perceive other people to perceive me. And then like you know, like I got a mustache, I dress like, you know, quote unquote more masculine, so I don't like have like a lot of androgyny going on, but and so I expect people to, and like because the way my voice sounds, I expect people to like gender me in such a way. So like to a certain extent, I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. This is something I can deal with. On the other hand, it's also like I've been having a lot of those internalized feelings of self-doubt and being like, well, am I just faking this the whole time? Am I really just a man where like I'm just been faking to everyone and myself, and I've fooled everybody, and I'm not fooling anybody or myself? Like what is this? But like also fuck that, like it's a social construct and I'm a giant robot and they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I think that's like another thing too, specifically with like either like gender fluid or like specifically non-binary. It's like people are like putting it as like a third gender when it's not that. Like people are like, oh, non-binary is androgyny, and it's like that's not what that is. Like that is like putting it into like another binary. Non-binariness is like whatever the fuck you want it to be. It's like present outside of gender norms what's comfortable for you, that does like, you know, go against like what you were conformed to do, you know, from society, you know. And so it's like, yeah, I get that a lot too. I'm like, if I have a day where I'm like, oh, maybe, you know, today I'm fine with being more feminine, you know, whatever, I'm like, you're not allowed to do that, because then you're not a real, you know, like Enby. Like that I feel it all the time, and I'm like, that's fucking stupid, because it's like, you know, it's just, yeah, a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, because like ultimately, oh, you go, Ari.
Oh, I like the imposter syndrome that comes around with like gender presentation is fucking like wild. Also, it's just stupid. Like, why do we feel imposters about being ourselves? That's kind of weird if you think about it.
Yeah.
But like, I can't speak to that experience, but definitely like when I first started coming out, or when I first started presenting, I wore everything super, super femme. And honestly, I just didn't like it. Like, it didn't make me feel comfortable. It made me feel very like fake and all that. And I think that's mostly because I was raised in the South. But and then I just like kind of switched to like this blanket androgyny presentation, and like a lot of that was just like from just sheer exhaustion of constantly having to correct people and constantly trying to do this. And like, it wasn't that like, oh, I didn't identify myself as a woman. It's just like, definitely I kind of just was like, fuck it, I'll just do my thing. But it turns out my thing actually was dictated a lot by how shitty everyone made me feel. And I think really recently is like the first time I've gone back to wearing more like feminine presenting and things like that, because of Twitch, because like I've gotten on here and the like love and excitement and like acceptingness I get from trying on all these styles is really, really cool. But like that nagging imposter of like, you're just being too hyper femme because you're compensating for something, or if I like decide to wear a fucking t-shirt and jeans one day because that's all I fucking have, like, oh, you aren't really a woman. And it's just like all of these things that we're told and taught mean these certain gender like norms are so hard to kick around.
Yeah, I think that's like another thing I have too, because like since it's still like such a newer thing to me, and a lot of the clothes that I get are like from my mom or like hand-me-down stuff a lot of the time, and my mom and like my family members like are all women, so I get a lot of like very feminine clothing. And so anytime I'm like, I want to dress more masculine, I get sometimes close to my brother-in-law, but it doesn't fit me, so like I can't really wear it. Just like big flannels I can wear, but I have to like go out and like, you know, like go to Goodwill or something and try to find something that like makes me feel more comfortable. But then it's like it's just so like there's so much going in your mind of like, yeah, like you're forcing this on yourself, like, you know, like you're just putting this whole like act on because you just I don't, yeah, it's just like a bunch of self-doubt of like why do you think you're doubting yourself when it's just like no one at the end of the day like gives a shit but you, like, just, you know what I mean? Like people obviously, like, I don't know what I'm saying, I'm kind of weirdly rambling, but it's just like, yeah, do what makes you feel happy, and if that makes you comfortable right now, like explore that, and if it doesn't, like, you know, take a break from that or something.
Well, I mean, like you're hitting something there, and I think I think this speaks to like a larger issue in our society where like we're conditioned from a young age to be doubting ourselves and to buy into certain shit and to buy into certain norms so that we can love ourselves. When in reality, like we just got to think that we're the shit because we are the shit, and like our own identities are the only thing that truly matters. Like outside of what our societies have taught us, outside of the ways they've conditioned us, like the way that we feel about ourselves, or the way that we identify ourselves is the way that we should be identified. That's it. And it's hard to like really get on, I don't know, like it's hard to get on that point with all this conditioning. So I can say this and still like have those constant self-doubt thoughts. But I think something that's been helping for me it's just like almost taking like a no bullshit, like really aggressive attitude. Like, no, this is who I am and this is how I identify, and don't fucking talk to me. like getting really determined aggressive. Because for me, like I'm a much more passive person, and often now I try to come off as more amicable. Because if I'm seen as aggressive, then because I know the way in which I'm perceived by a lot of people, if I'm aggressive, then like that can be a threatening thing. But like I need to harness that, because in a way I've been fearing it, but I know if I harness that, then that's a helpful way in which to just be more certain about myself. I don't know.
Yeah, do y'all yeah, I have a question. Can I ask another question? Or unless Aries, it seems like maybe you have something you wanted?
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, I think that the like idea of like genderqueer and trans identities is like the radical practice of self like love and acceptance. Like that is like what we are trying to do, is accept and love ourselves in so many different ways with what makes us feel comfortable. And like just as Libby said, like sometimes that has to be a no bullshit approach. I don't care if I'm the angry trans woman half the fucking time, because I'm fucking angry about it because it's me. Yeah. And I have to love myself, and if you don't, kick rocks, bitch. Like I don't care.
Yeah, I kind of want to go into like a more like sort of thing, like what have been some positive moments in like your journey of just like being like on this road to self-care, if you will. Like what have been some cool moments that y'all have discovered about yourself, or like what's been like positive thing, you know? I think a lot of times whenever I hear people talk about like gender stuff, it's always like so like we talk a lot about like the struggles and stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of beauty to it too, of like finding what works for you and just what's cool. I don't know. We'll go back and forth from happy to sad. We'll sort of teeter. It'll be a fun tipping scale.
I love the speedrun strats. More recent memory was my sister's wedding, actually. Before the wedding happened, the family got to like get together and hang out with each other, and we were going shopping for like wedding outfits. My sister was helping me find a really affirming outfit and was like making like doubly sure that I would feel like comfortable in that stuff, and that was really fucking cool.
Yeah, that's and, fucking like, awesome.
I like getting to the wedding and having all the people that I'm worried about that are gonna like, I know they're like probably gendering me in their head, but like just being in a room full of people, seeing me like in makeup and an outfit, just like hyping
like hyping that and not like saying anything about like gender and all at all in any kind of way was like a really fucking cool experience that like what what like so I felt like I needed something to like bring me down to that point because things were like too good to be true at that moment. Like, wait, like an actually validating experience, and my sister's really don't you fucking that was a good time. I'm grateful to have people in my life that are gonna look out for me in that way, and holy shit. it's really cool to like it's cool to have people that are close to you in your life that like, give a shit about you and want to make sure that you're comfortable. That means a lot. Like it makes going outside a lot more comfortable, and it's shown me at the very least not all of outside is scary. Like it can be at first, but there's some cool people out there and they're worth meeting, worth hanging out with.
Or do you have a moment?
That was just really good. I liked hearing about that. That made me happy. Libby, you deserve that all the time.
Deserve that all the time.
We all do. We do, Kipp.
We all.
Sorry for headphones users.
Right, now that we've blown out the speakers of everyone's headphones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a couple. Like I touched on it earlier, but like the amount of like exploration I've gotten to do on Twitch. Like before I joined Twitch, like I was presenting very, very androgynous, mostly because like I was worried about safety. I was worried about perception. Like it was just easier, that sort of thing. And then like I started Twitch and I was like, hold on a second. If I really wanted to, I could just be an e-girl right now. And I mean, the thing is like it made me really, really excited to like everyone that's coming in chat, like was just excited to see me and my personality. And that was really affirming. And like, your chat and Sam's and a couple other people's really was just like I'd come in and no one would gender me incorrectly and everyone saw me as like me, and it was just really cool. I didn't have to prove anything to anybody, and that was just like something that I hadn't really dealt with because most of my life has been like I'm a fucking woman, damn it, and you're gonna look at me. And instead I come into like chats here or even stream and like I don't have to prove that. And that's such like a radical concept for someone who's been like absolutely like tooth and nail getting to where I am. That and like about 6 months ago, my dad called me beautiful one time and I cried for a week. Anyway, that too. Anyway, that's some positive things.
Yeah. That must have felt really fucking good.
Real fucking good.
I love the validating comment. That's a big one for some family too. Like fucking A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
This
is fucking big.
I had just gotten my hair done and like my mom fucking hates dyed hair, but I dyed it purple and my mom was like, you can't get a job that way. And then my dad texts me, you look beautiful. And I'm like, yes.
That's so good.
Papa.
Yeah, yeah, for me, I mean, yeah, I think very similar to you, Aries. Like, yeah, stream has been a very cool place for me to, like, for the most part. Like, it happens maybe every stream one time or like every other stream where people use the wrong pronouns for me. But sometimes I end up missing it because mods delete it and sort of instinctual pet the mods emote, but so I don't even see it. But yeah, just having a space where like I get to just be myself and people, yeah, like I don't have to prove myself. People just respect it. Even if people don't understand it, they're just like, okay, yeah, I'll use they, them. I don't really know what that is, but sure. And it's like, great, you don't need to, just respect it. And that's sick. I mean, it'd be great if you did. Yeah, I think there have been like a couple times where people have like used like the words like handsome or something, or just more like masculine ways of describing me. And that's been really fucking cool. That is like rad. And I'll be honest, the time I dressed up as the dude from Nickelback, I like put on I don't know if you all saw that, but I put on like a mustache or like a little goatee thing. And that did feel cool. Just like presenting more masculine at that time, because I felt more masculine at that time. So it was just rad to have people just like forcibly have them see me as more masculine by fucking using mascara and putting on this thing of like, not even in a way of like proving it, but it's like, am I non-binary enough for you now kind of thing. But it did feel good though. It felt really good. And I think honestly, like the biggest thing has been like, being friends with like Sam and Marie and Ashley, like and I've hung out with them in person, and they just like treat me as who I am, and they respect my pronouns, and they see that, and that just like really just means a lot. Like I don't ever have to worry about it when I hang out with them. So it just like, I don't know, it's rad.
Those are good friends to have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are good friends to have. If you aren't doing that for your friends, fucking fight you. In game. Okay, in game. So that's another thing. If we want to sort of gut on our soapbox for like a tiny bit, like what are some ways that
Soapbox?
Or maybe not soapbox. We'll get into this. Okay, what are like some fucking big pet peeves you have when it comes to just like just shit that happens to you, or just things you hear people say and you're like, shut the fuck up. Like even if it's little tiny things, like even if you think they're petty, like do you have anything that you're like, I fucking hate this?
I cannot just don't say I'm sorry, I'm getting used to it. Just don't. Like, I'm sorry to be this dick, but like everyone, just don't say I'm getting used to it. Don't fucking do it. Because it's not my job to make you feel better about misgendering me. Like, it's just not. I'm all for like trying to talk to you if you're confused about something or don't understand something, and we're friends, that's fine. But if you're fucking like, I'm sorry, my bad, I'm just getting used to it. I never met someone that's trans. First of all, yes, you have. And you fucked up. Second of all, you're not getting it from me. You're not. I will be the angry trans woman. I'm fine with that. Yeah, so just like don't do that. That'd be great. Don't say you're getting used to it or things like that. All you have to do when you misgender someone is say, sorry, insert correct pronoun, and then just move on. That's it.
Yeah, it's an easy formula, folks. If you want the secret, that's it. That's truly it.
Thank you. That's my thing.
Honestly, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's not my biggest pet peeve, because the worst thing is having to be put in the position to explain to somebody who you don't owe that explanation to, and they're just like, look, I need you to like educate me right now, and here's me saying, no, go look on Google, I'm gonna leave now. Ask me any more questions, I'm gonna throw the symbol at you in game.
Throw a symbol?
Sorry, I just
wait,
swallowed a bunch of cinnamon.
You good, Ari?
Wait, what?
I'm drinking hot toddies and I just swallowed a bunch of cinnamon. I'm really sorry, Libby.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a little teary from it.
Okay. Yeah, take a second. Do you need to get like water or something? Or like cough it out? Or I don't know. Never had a hot toddy, so I don't know what you do when this happens. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Libby. What were you saying?
Oh no, I had the same pet peeve as you. It's just really frustrating to be put in that position in a lot of scenarios. Like this is like people subconsciously make these conversations, like make these old like encounters about themselves in a lot of ways, and like that's
not the way to go when you disrespect somebody. It's not a new complicated like we're gonna fucking talk about this. This shit's been around for thousands of years. Like this is old. This is the old knowledge. This is the old knowledge. And while like we're using like slightly different terms for it now. Excuse me. We're using slightly different terms for it now. People just forgot about it. So this isn't like a bunch of new fucking concepts. This is old shit. Like look it up in a fucking book.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I think that's like yeah, because I have that interaction a lot where people will misdo it and then like apologize and then I have to console them. And so now it's like my job to be like, oh no, it's okay, like you're fine, when I'm the person who got misgendered kind of thing. But I think a lot of that, yeah, it comes from people just not knowing that it is an old thing, and these people yeah, again, like the sort of airy dad classic bigotry quote, you know, it's just people are unaware of it, people don't know how to like respond to that, so all we can really do is just like try to tell as many people as possible like, hey everybody, don't do that, and just shout it across the fucking rooftops of like, you know. But again, it's like in any situation where you disrespect someone, whether that be like for pronouns or just like anything, doesn't have to do with like gender stuff, it's like you just apologize, learn from that, move on, and not make it like this whole thing about you, even though that may not be someone's intention of like making it about them. It's like that's what ends up happening. So yeah,
I know we talked about it a little bit, Kipp, but like it is just like it can be so exhausting and draining to, as you said, like console these people. What Libby said, like the whole thing then becomes about them, and it's exhausting. And like just say sorry and move on. Like it's not that big. Like I mean it is, but like just do better.
Because the other thing is that like they prolong the whole interaction. They're trying to save face,
and then it gets
like,
so awkward.
It's
right?
really
It's just
awkward.
like, but like just if you stop it, if you follow our, like trust me. If you follow this patented speedrunner strat, you will beat your PB literally every single fucking. You will beat
green splits
only out here. Trust me, the speedrunner strat is the best strat. End the conversation. You'll learn the next time. Because that's the other thing, is that I think a lot of people are really uncomfortable with making mistakes and then being perceived as a villain in some kind of way, because they're like, that's the other thing. Like, a lot of tangents here, but I'm gonna bring them all into this one thing, is that like them being perceived as a villain is a projection of their own creation. Because truthfully, like I get that a lot of people just don't get it, and like they're probably queer themselves, but they just don't fucking realize it. So I'm not gonna like go and like just shit on them in the middle of the fucking street, but I am gonna be like, look, no, you don't get it. Like, look this shit up for your own fucking gain, and just figure it out. But like, they're so worried about being villains. They're so worried about being wrong, and that's what they just get so caught up in that. And it's okay to be wrong. It's okay not to know things. What's important is that you're open to learning those things, and then if you actually want to learn it, you take the time and put the effort into learning it. Like, just don't. It's not really a big deal. Just fucking do it.
Yeah, because then it just makes it this whole bigger thing, and it doesn't need to be. It's like, you know, like it's not the same, but just like, you know, like saying someone's name wrong, like if you mispronounce it, it's like, you know, just learn how to pronounce it and move on. Don't be like, oh man, I've never heard that name before, like, you know, I don't know, like blah blah blah. It's like, just learn it and move on. You can Google it, you can even go ask someone who like knows about it, who isn't that person or something, you know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah, I don't know, there's like a lot of different ways to like, yeah, go about it without putting yourself in that villain, you know, character mode. That's really true. Yeah,
that's a very good point. Just like, people don't want to be villains, but like I think it's okay to be wrong. Like growing up, like where I grew up, like I was wrong about a lot of like topics about racism and homophobia. I mean, for God's sakes, I used to not believe in gay people. Like, we grow and we change, and like I still get things wrong, and like hell, I misgender myself sometimes, which is just a whole other thing.
I know.
It fucking sucks.
I know that feeling fucking blows.
Yeah, when it happens, you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Like, how do I put myself in timeout? Do I go sit and stare at a corner? Like, what do I do?
You get yourself into a blanket, have a nice cup of tea, and then you just treat yourself to the things that you love because you deserve that.
Yeah, I mean, Steven and Chai is saying it well. Just like, hey, me, do better. Do better. Do better and move on.
Sorry, Ari, she. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I guess, yeah. Have y'all like kind of just come to terms with the fact that like you get things wrong and that's okay, and like especially about yourself. Like I know for me, like I took a long time to figure this shit out, and I don't know. I'd be interested to hear like how have you guys kind of like y'all kind of felt more comfortable with like making mistakes about yourself and others when it comes to gender and other topics.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, yeah, there was a time like similar to you. Like, I mean, the just household I was raised in and just like the religion I was raised in, because like I went to Catholic mass every Sunday till I was like 16. Like I was very much in it, but I very much rejected all of it. A lot of the times the mass was in Spanish, so I just could like easily tune out because I was like, I don't want to translate this, so I don't have to. So I just like sit there and play on my Game Boy secretly. And that's what you do. But yeah, I think it's yeah, I grew up with like family members who were racist, who were homophobic, who, you know, vocally were and said that around me. And though I rejected a lot of the like overt stuff, like I had a fuck ton of that internalized. I thought a lot of different things. I at some point didn't think non-binary was a thing. I thought people who did it were faking it. Like I did think that. I thought that like 5 years ago, and of course here I fucking am now, you know. That's just how it fucking goes. And so I feel like that's so common. It's so common. I mean, I don't know how it was for you, Libby, because like Ari, you were in the same boat, but like yeah, I was like very like, I don't know, non-binary people, I don't know. I don't fucking know about that, you know, kind of shit. Like, I don't know, like were you also like in that,
I don't fucking know about that.
This whole non-binary shit, I don't fucking know. Like, were you also like in that sort of, were you ever in that mindset, Libby, or were you just always like, you know, were you always like fucking woke or something?
No, I was at one point I was a sad boy, and it's a time in my life I don't like to look back on, but I like more just went along with like certain societal habits, and like I think I just believed in like a gender binary for a long time just because that's what like the world had shown me, and that was when I didn't like think about questioning. I wasn't really like questioning boundaries at that young of an age. I was also raised in a religious household. My mom is a priest.
Whoa.
But, and it didn't really take her it didn't take a lot of convincing for her to be like, oh yeah, like she still doesn't like really truly understand that I'm not a man, but like she'll use my pronouns and she'll correct herself if she makes a mistake. So like there's wins, and she's the more emotional parent, so like we got along a lot better. So like, you know, there's Libby lore, internalized family dynamics. I definitely grew up not really understanding much, and just more so growing up with like a limited perspective, but I was open to these ideas, but didn't really express like how to be interested, or just like or didn't like really go out looking for that information till later. But I mean, like people close to me that came out, I was completely cool with, and by the time I was dating the other person using they them pronouns that I dated, like I didn't really understand what non-binary meant, but I was learning more from them, and I was looking up more on my own to try and get an understanding, and that's when I started like questioning my own identity and learning more about myself. So like not necessarily so I grew up bigot adjacent, but not necessarily like outright denying
Right.
like you know, like the idea of anything outside of a gender binary or whatever. Yeah, my parents weren't like, my parents are very much liberals, but they're not like shitty liberals. You know what I mean? I know like we have different experiences,
yeah.
but, they'll get on board with stuff, but still like believe in the system and still like believe that like that we can like do reforms and that will be okay, or whatever. But
sometimes that's like the most you can ask for. Sometimes that's like the biggest blessing. So like just having like liberal parents.
I'll take that suitcase.
Yeah.
I'll take that fucking suitcase.
Yeah.
Look, like they can be annoying to hear them worship Obama, but like, look, I'll take that suitcase.
I'll say a lot about like parents and like some of the things that have happened with them, but like also at the end of the day, like they've also grown a lot, and I think that's like tying back into like what we talked about like at the very beginning of this. Like I think it's because they put in the time and effort, and now like our relationship isn't always the best, but like it's there and it's growing and it's changing, and like sometimes that's what all you can do is meet them where they're at, and where they're at is miles from where they used to be. So like yeah, it's just like kind of how you delegate your time. How are you gonna delegate that?
Yeah, and like deciding which relationships are worth investing in terms of like them understanding you more as a person, for sure.
100%.
Yeah,
it's hard.
It's definitely where I find a lot of peace is just because like I think a lot about agency and practicing our own agency. I think that what gives me a lot of hope is that I do have the agency to choose my relationships, and that's fucking huge. And I never want anyone to think that they're like stuck in a relationship or fated to be in a relationship, even if it's like a close family, like blood relatives, whatever. It's like you choose who your family is going to be. And yeah, I don't know. Agency. I like agency. It's great.
Yeah, sounds a little bit like boundaries. A little bit of setting some boundaries with people.
I like some boundary setting.
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah. I think that's like super important. Yeah. Now I kind of want to go into some stuff because both of you stream, and so I'm curious, or just like do like you also make music and stuff, Libby, and all those things. Like, how do y'all navigate online spaces when it comes to like being trans, non-binary, like as a content creator? Because I know Aireth, you like post on TikTok too. Like, what's that like? Just like interacting with like people with that online. Or like we sort of talked about this, like versus in person.
I mean, it's fucking sick. I could say. I initially started streaming because over quarantine and in the wee baby days we were all watching Tiger King and baking bread. I started watching speedruns of stuff, and then I was like, I could do that. I couldn't. Update, I couldn't. But that just kind of led me to Twitch, and like a brief thing about like I didn't after brief search I didn't really find a lot of other like trans content creators. Lo and behold, I was very wrong. Update. But that's just kind of what I saw off the bat, and I was like, well, fuck it. If they ain't there, I'll be it. And ever since then, I've just been like astounded with the like joy of the like, community I've gotten to create, and like being a part of yours and some other streamers. Like, it's been awesome. And so like in that sense, like I've loved being trans online. Like, I think though there's always that like lurking danger on the other side of things of like you were all there when I got hate rated really bad and then accidentally deleted all of my followers.
Go follow Aireth, !Aireth, you assholes.
If you don't follow Aireth, I'll fucking fight you in game.
I'll kill you, not in game.
In game.
Not in game, in game.
It was a whole thing. But anyway, like there is definitely that like kind of, I always feel like it's lurking in the shadows right behind me. And I just have to be very careful with like who I engage with. And I definitely feel like most of the time I'm on my guard, like for new people coming into chat, like pretty heavy. And I feel kind of bad about that because I want to have everyone come in and be like, come on in, like I trust your intentions and things like that. But I don't know about y'all. You can't always in this situation. And so I don't know how to navigate that personally.
It's a tough one. I actually used to have an online presence when I was gigging, and then I stopped maintaining that pretty much for good because I just kind of got tired of it and having to eventually, explain to people in one way or another, like how I identify as I was like coming out and doing that whole thing. So I haven't had an online presence in like over a year, and I've been really dreading putting it back together, to be completely honest. Like I major kudos to the both of you for like having cameras on stream and putting yourselves out there, because that's something that I'm terrified to do more often than not. Yeah, so the way I deal with it is that I don't so far. But
have you seen Bongo Cat? Soon. You seen the Bongo Cat, or is just little bongos when you talk? Or like the keyboard cat? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Or whatever, whatever your persona is. Yeah, the one that Algo's doing in chat. Yeah.
What about personas, Kipp? Are we talking shit?
No, I'm just saying.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's be real here, all right? If we're gonna be talking about this, okay. Anyway, sorry.
What's the name of the Sonic the Hedgehog that's red and black?
Shadow.
Yeah,
I'm actually that's what I'm dressed as right now. I'm Shadow for
Oh my
Halloween.
God, you are.
Oh wait, does that mean I'm Tails?
Yes.
Since I'm the fox?
Yes.
I'll
be Sonic. So if we all want to have a role in this.
Oh my gosh. We're all gonna play Sonic Adventure 2, and it's gonna be
please, okay, sorry. Please though. I love that. So
I'm
much.
begging.
Please,
I'm begging.
Please, please.
For me, in terms of navigating online spaces, like for example, like TikTok, I do something interesting where I ban the word she, she's, she'd, her, hers, woman, lady, girl. I ban like any iteration of that in my comments, so I just like never see it. And if there's someone who's in that video who is like a woman and they're talking about them, sorry, the comment's just not going through. It's just, what am I gonna do? But yeah, Twitch is just harder because you can't really, it's hard because there are so many people in chat. It's like someone could be talking about the characters, someone could be talking about like someone else who's not you. So it's like you can't ban that word because it's so situational, like banning just like pronouns that aren't yours that people constantly use on accident for you. And so that's like kind of the rougher part of that. And yeah, like but it's been awesome because I feel like with like the pronoun extension, that's like the one thing, Ari, like I notice when people are like with it, like when I see someone who comes in and has a pronoun extension, I'm like, okay, like you're pretty, like that's the bare minimum, but I can pretty much like worry a little bit less about you.
Yeah, like I feel so like conflicted about this. On one hand, like I want to have a stream where people come in and feel cozy, and I will make trans jokes and you will all laugh vaguely uncomfortably, but you're gonna laugh. Like I want that to be an okay topic, because I feel like being trans and being genderqueer and things like that is always such a like tiptoe subject, when like reality, like being trans is fucking funny sometimes. Like I got some comedy about that.
Yeah.
Like, but also like, yeah, it's hard to just like be like, oh, I'm gonna assume that everyone comes in has good intentions, because when you don't, you kind of get fucked over.
Yeah, like you're saying, just like always on your guard about it, so that you can't like be fully yourself and make those jokes that you would with like people you're comfortable with.
I will say, like, ever since like I've gotten a couple mods that I really trust, and like having people in chat that like I now know, like it feels so much safer. And like as soon as I've gotten like a bit of like regular community coming back, it is just so much like, yeah, like these are things that we joke about, and these are things that we obviously don't joke about. And like it's really cool to see that like kind of personality and growth from like spaces that like you create. It feels really cool. I like it.
Oh, totally. See, like y'all are smart. You have like mods that you trust. I mod everybody. I'm just
I'm a fucking mod.
Like I'm waiting for someone to just like start some shit, and wait for the chaos to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. So like I'm blessed right now because all my mods are good people.
Libby, you can mod me and I'll just start shit.
Please. The mod actually. No.
Yeah, shout out to mods. We could just
Everyone,
shout
yeah.
out to mods.
Every time. Yeah, truly. Because a lot of times, like when I'm like, yeah, it's interesting. Just modding in general. Like the streamer will be talking about something, and then like there's a bunch of shit happening in chat, and you're just like, I'm just gonna ignore that and just let mods kind of handle it because I don't want to say anything. But then sometimes it'll be like, hey, by the way, my pronouns are they, them, just a heads up. And you see like 3 deleted messages and then like this person was banned. And it was like, yeah, I can kind of guess what happened here. Yeah.
Totally.
Got the old brain working.
Actually, I have a question as a non-mod and as a general conscientious objector to this kind of fuckery. Like, if I'm in y'all streams and that happens, am I allowed to like step in and be like, hey, don't? Or like, is that a thing you want to save more for mods? Because like, I don't know. What's your thoughts and feelings about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, because I have like the Kipp command, and that just like reminds people like, I don't mind if anyone does, because I think the more support people behind it, the more that it's like normalized, you know, not just like mods doing it. It's like, hey, like everyone's for it. Yeah. So, and like, for example, like in my stream, it's like if someone misgenders me, they can just like type !Kipp and like at the person who did do that, and then be like, hey, look at this message, this person, because you did the thing you shouldn't have done. So yeah. That's just like for my stream. I feel like yeah, it's different for everyone.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I am actually like pretty sick, by the way.
Yeah, we never talked about that. Yeah, Aries like dying right now.
Yeah.
Still tripping.
I also have a midterm tomorrow. Anyway, I'd be more okay with it. Like feels like I don't like talking about any numbers when it comes to streaming. That's not why I stream or things like that. I would be more okay with other people jumping in if there were more people chatting, so it wouldn't feel like, you know, the next 3 messages that are on screen for the next, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes are just all about this one person making maybe an honest mistake. Like, I mean, it's in my title. It's also me. And
also an automated message that happens every 20 minutes.
Yeah. Like so like I'm kind of towing the line of like, I'm okay if people do it if that's not like the only thing that's going on in chat, but I also don't want like it to be like someone does something wrong and then like 5 people jump on them, where so I don't know. And I think that's mostly just like because of just like the size of community that I have. And so I think that when that, or if that ever changes, I would be more okay with it. But for right now, I kind of keep it generally to mods. However, sometimes there aren't mods, and in that case, go for it.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, because when that becomes like the whole thing, then that's when it's like weird. Like if so many people are like on this person when it could have been a mistake, or someone who's been there for a while and it's just like, you know,
or referring to something else.
Yeah, like miscommunication stuff happens all the time. Like I've deleted messages on accident when I realized they weren't talking about me. Like I've done that too in my own streams. So it's yeah, like if you know someone already does it once, you know, you don't have to do it. But if no one says anything, then you know, if there aren't like any mods in the chat, then yeah, I think that's a good way of navigating that.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sticky, and I think like especially because like we're all like now being very open about our gender and our journeys with our oh my god, I'm sorry, our journeys with our gender.
You're doing great.
Like, you know, it does mean that like I generally talk about it more on stream than I would like IRL. Like if my professors mess up, I'm just like, fuck you. I'm out. Yeah, academia and gender.
Yeah.
I think it's also so interesting because like, yeah, the like spectrum of gender and also like outside of that spectrum, because it goes outside of that as well, of like in the 70s, like I think in the 70s there was this thing of like Johnson & Johnson like released this thing about like the spectrum of sexuality of like you know, everyone sort of falls on the spectrum of you know, their sexual attraction to like different genders and stuff. And I think it's like not the same thing, but it's like we're now in that time where we're exploring that with gender. And so, you know, in the 70s, people were a little like confused about that. It was like you were either gay or you were straight and you couldn't like be both. And now it's like at this time where it's sort of like becoming more of a commonplace conversation where people, even if they don't respect it or understand it, they know of it. Or it's becoming just more commonplace that it's not such a binary thing. It can be for some people, but for some it's like not like that. I don't know. I could be wrong though. My therapist told me that, so I don't know. But my therapist also watches The Sopranos, so I trust my therapist.
I think that like a lot of like me working around my own identity is like, I know I identify as a woman and that is like through and through, but a lot of like what I've been trying to separate is like the myths of like femininity being one specific thing, and like I can find joy in my femininity of like being buff or strong or working out and things like that, and things that bring me joy besides my gender. And so like, I don't know, I think that that's always been like kind of where like the gray areas of like my gender has kind of been, because like I'm a very active person. I do a lot of traditionally masculine things, like lift a lot. I'm in STEM fields and things like that. And like, it's very telling like how much like internalized shit I get from that. Like I feel bad going to the gym and it's like, what the fuck? The gym isn't gendered, you dip fuck. Like also as it gets later and more tired, I'm just gonna start saying fuck more, so heads up.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
we can, you know, like, yeah, kind of like cut it whenever we're, you know,
oh no, I'm
like,
good.
Happens. But yeah, to sort of almost go like on a slight tangent of that, I think for oh shit, I had something so good I was gonna say, shit. With like discovering, yeah, like non-binariness or even like gender fluid or whatever is going on with me specifically, I keep forgetting it. Wait, it was I have to keep asking myself, because as like an AFAB person, like I have to think like, do I want to be more masculine because I like it, or do I want to be more masculine because I want to reject the negative things that comes from society of being a woman, and like the things that are masculine because we live in a patriarchal society and we praise that. That's like the one thing I think about all the time, is like, do I want to be a man because like that's what society is telling me to do, is that being a man is good, and that's like, you know, like being like a cis straight white man is like the, you know, pinnacle of like power and want and all this stuff. And so I have to keep like checking in with myself, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't know, because I like, you know, feel kind of like shitty for thinking like, oh, if I was taller I would just like be like a trans guy because I feel shitty for being short. Like it's like all these shitty things that like go in my head of that, and it's just like, you know, it's like a hard thing that I have to always like check with myself of like, do I genuinely just like that because that makes me feel comfortable? I don't know if y'all ever, if you have something like similar to that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely gave myself a lot of shit for wearing certain clothes, or like I didn't start wearing like, you know, like quote unquote more feminine clothes until like recently, honestly, like within the past year, because I realized at a certain point that like I wanted to experiment more with just my look in general. I wanted to like open up the palette, but I still I don't know, I just felt like even still now, sometimes when I put on a dress I feel like, oh, you're just faking and trying to perform, and you're trying to get away from this image of man that you are perceived to have, and you're trying to get away from this idea of being perceived as a man. So how do I do that? By quote unquote practicing femininity, when for me what's been helping me a lot is just shirking all of it, honestly, and just saying, well, these are just clothes that are comfortable and I like wearing them, so they're my clothes. And any clothes I wear that I like is just going to be another piece of clothing that I wear, and that doesn't have, like, while other people might perceive it a certain way, I know I just like it and I'm cozy in it, and that's what matters. Like I'm really trying to enforce in myself not even adhering to, you know, like spectrum of gender, or even thinking like I'm like gender, no. Like, no, not for me at all. Just like any. That's been helping some. Then there comes a question. Well, then what am I? I'm still kind of tied to the idea of like figuring out who I am for myself, but I'm trying to figure out what that is outside of thinking of myself in a gendered way. And that's hard, but it's helping. Like the lack of labels is helping a lot, and just focusing on what I like about the clothes and focusing on like what I like about presenting and not attaching any gender to it's been cozy.
Fuck yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so I think oh, Ari, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, I kind of feel like the like opposite way of you, Kipp. Like, I was so just like terrified to like do anything that traditionally presented more femme, because like this is me learning. I made mistakes. Like, I viewed like being a woman and being seen as a woman as like weak and wrong and this and that, and like that was so hard to get over. And like, damn, like I still do that today, and like it's hard to catch yourself of like, what is this like what is just being taught to me, and what is like actually what makes me feel, as Libby said, cozy. Like what is it like? And I don't know, like for me it is like a lot of maybe like traditionally more masculine things that I do, but like I don't always present that way. And just like how we tie ourselves to this one aspect of like, I can speak for myself of like, you need to look either feminine or this and that, or I can imagine the like androgyny aspect that's like supposedly forced upon people who are not like within that gender spectrum. Is really frustrating that you have to keep proving that to yourself and others, when in reality, like, lifting heavy thing make Ari go happy and make loud noise. And also I need to beat up Kipp. So like,
This is true.
yeah.
Can I soundtrack this fight though? Just like I
Yeah.
want to make a Rocky Balboa kind of like just also mixes. Anyway.
Yeah. So I think yeah, I really appreciate y'all being on here. Do y'all mind if we have like one final question? Just because Ari, I don't want you have stuff you got to do tomorrow, and I don't want you to overwork yourself or anything like that. Just as a sort of, now we're on our soapbox a little bit. What are some ways that you think you would like to share in terms of maybe people in chat who don't know much about, things you don't have to do this if you're exhausted of doing this, but is there any ways that people can like respect you or other people's gender identity that you think are like things to do? Is there anything that like comes off? I mean, we kind of talked about it of like, don't even apologize, correct, move on kind of thing, but is there anything else that you just like want to share to people that you think is like interesting or useful, or just any final thoughts you have?
I have one.
Yeah.
And it's when someone else is talking about, and this is really for just everything in life, this is even like gender outside of gender, if someone is telling you about their own experience, you don't know about their experience. Just listen, because you'll learn a lot more if you just listen.
Yeah.
I guess like, I feel like so many of the stories I see about trans women and trans people in general are always so sad. But like, I mean, don't tokenize us, but there is a lot of joy and a lot of strength into my identity and people's like me identity that should be celebrated and enjoyed and shared more than whispered in secret. And that is why like I'm just very proud about who I am, because it's really, really beautiful. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing. It's not something to be ashamed of.
I'm doing the flags.
That's all.
Sound effect.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Be proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's similar
That's it.
to yeah, that was really beautiful. Yeah, it's very similar to my sort of go back to my therapist, shout out to my therapist, of like her telling me like just be happy that you're uncomfortable and have fun with the journey of just discovering yourself and be in that uncomfortableness and just sit in it and just soak in it and just fucking trudge your way through and just find the little scraps of gold along the way of that mud that you're just fucking sinking in. And I think that's just, yeah, true of just finding, yeah, the beautiful things that do come with just the stories of people who are in this community. It's like there's a lot of good, yeah, because I think a lot of times people will focus on like, yeah, like the tragedies that happen amongst the community, and it's like, you know, praise just all of it, praise all of the like beauty that comes from all of the experiences of like all people, you know, because it's all, I don't know, life is so short and we're gonna fucking die one day, and we'll, you know, so just have a fucking good time. I don't know. Just be cool. Have fun. Full
Good time.
Yeah.
Bongos and treat people well and just have a good time. It's easy.
Have a good time. Have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. Any final last thoughts y'all have? Y'all want to share before we end the podcast? Thank y'all. Again, I'm gonna do a plot thing preemptively. Thank y'all so much for being on. This is really fucking rad. Y'all are both very cool people, and I just really appreciate y'all being.
Firstly, Kipp, how dare you? You're cool as fuck. Ari, you're cool as fuck.
Yeah.
You're cool as fuck. You're cool as fuck. Secondly, thank you for having us on here. This is it's really nice to have a space to actually talk about this stuff with other people, and to show other people that like being gender nonconforming or being trans or being non-binary, being any of those things, or shirking gender entirely, it's not a monolith. So thank you for showcasing our different experiences, Kipp. It's really cool of you.
Yeah, just echoing what Libby said, it's not a monolith, and we learn so much when we actually talk to each other about these things. And so thank you for opening up this space and sharing it with your community. It does a lot of good, and it makes me feel really stoked and included. So yeah.
Yeah, so let me hold on. Y'all, if you like these freaking fucking good vibes, you better go goddamn follow these freaking, hold on, people. Hold on, pausing. Go follow Aireth. Go follow Libby. Doing some cool shit. Sorry, y'all can't hear me now. Oh, wow, your glasses? Hold on. Kind of want to get into that. Yeah. Get out of here. Let's go. Let's fucking go Matrix, man. Do you have... Ari, don't be left out. We'll accept that. We'll take that. That's fucking sick. Yay. Yeah, again, both of you are just really awesome people, and I feel really lucky that y'all even said yes to this, because I know that this can be a very like, yeah, vulnerable space to talk about just, you know, just like things and experiences that y'all have been with. So I appreciate y'all just like being open enough to talking about this. And yeah, you're both are fucking cool.
You're fucking cool. Get out of here.
Cool. We're all cool.
You're fucking cool.
Fucking cool.
By affection, you're cool.
And as sort of a nice final little cool thing, if everyone in chat wants to fucking drop their pronouns right now, that'd be fucking crazy. Let's see.
Motherfucking pronouns.
Share them. That way, if someone does, and do serious pronouns, because then that's a way that I can figure out who to ban. So that's easy for me. Sort of like a quick siphoning through just like people who joke, and it's easy for me to just figure out who to ban quickly.
Out yourself in chat.
Yeah, out yourself, basically. Fuck yeah. Let's go.
Ooh, look at all those pronouns.
Holy shit, everyone in chat. So
there we go. Look at you, chat. Look at you go.
Oh, it's
Sweet
so hot.
Sweet Jesus.
But yeah, do y'all want to just like share anything about yourselves before I kick you all out of my Discord? Libby, do you want to share just anything about what you're doing on stream, or just any like final little thing?
If you like to see me suffer doing a soul level 1 Sekiro run, then that's a fun time. Other than that, I mostly just fart and make sounds, and you can find that somewhere. But more importantly, you should be following Kipp and Ari, because they actually have really cool streams. So if you don't do that, I'll fight you.
You have cool streams.
Say it louder.
I'll fight you.
Okay, watch
I'll
your
fight you, but I'll win.
Yeah, watch your headphones.
Please fucking follow me. You fucking go.
Yeah, and then Ari, do you want to share what you're doing?
I'm about to kick some old man's ass in Sekiro. He doesn't have any shoes on, so it should be easy.
We're talking no feet mode?
No feet mode. And then after that, I'm going to be doing a Dark Souls 3 Soul Level 1 run. If y'all would like to see me cry and break down.
We love a goddamn Dark Souls challenge run. Hell yeah. It's awesome. Very, very sick. Well,
also, I'm getting my PhD, so sometimes I don't stream a lot, just as a heads up.
here we go. If you want to talk about OChem on stream, though, when Aireth is streaming, please. Any chem people in chat? Yeah?
She's really smart. It's really cool. As a not smart science, but like as a person who doesn't know science, like check out Aireth streams. They're fucking rad. You're gonna learn some fucking shit, fam. You're gonna learn some fucking shit.
Also cool science emotes. Yeah, Rivers got him. Heck yeah. They're fucking rad. But yeah. Again, thank you all so much for being on here. Do you want to wave goodbye? Just a little awkward goodbye.
See y'all in the fucking chat.
Yay! That was really cool. Again, that was the show. Yeah! Yeah! Sorry I wasn't able to read anything that anything was happening at all, but I guess that's how podcast things go, so I apologize. I will read everything in a little bit. But yeah, Ari and Libby, thank you so much for being on here. I don't know if you're here right now, but thank you both for being on. That was really, really nice just to talk about all those things.